Good morning. It's Heidi and it's about 6 a.m. I'm a morning person, as my regular students can attest to. I even teach a 6 a.m. class one day a week. And I also like it dark. I think I'm part vampire. So if it's a little dark for you, don't worry. As the sun rises, it'll brighten up and you'll be able to see me better. But for the first part, you don't really need to see much. We're going to start with just closing our eyes and breathing. Something that we need to pay more attention to so that we can calm our minds down from all this craziness going on in the world. Breath is something that we don't really pay attention to very much. We do some 22,000 breaths a day, but when you focus on your breath, you can help calm your mind and your body. So a practice that I like to do is called equal part breath, where you breathe in for a certain amount of time and then you repeat that same amount of time out. It's called counted breath as well. I usually do maybe 6 to 8 for the inhale, and then whatever that was, I try to match it on the exhale. And sometimes as I go along, I try to increase that number to a larger number. So as you bring your awareness to your breath and try that equal breath where you breathe in for the same number as you exhale out, I'm going to read to you from the Daily Om. It's a book by Madison Taylor. This is one of my favorite, one of her little stories in this book. So keeping your eyes closed, breathing in and out, and listening to the mystery of transformation, the butterfly chrysalis. When a caterpillar begins life in the egg, it looks nothing like what will hatch, and the butterfly seems a far cry from the larva that precedes it. Do caterpillars recognize butterflies as their future selves? Do butterflies identify caterpillars as past relations? The most mysterious phase of this shape-shifting creature process is that of the chrysalis, the green jade cocoon in which the crawling, leaf-eating caterpillar transforms into a floating, nectar-drinking butterfly. In our human lives, we sometimes find ourselves in the chrysalis state. Those times when we do not have a lot to offer the outside world, it is because, whether we realize it or not, much of our energy is consumed with an inner transition. We might feel sluggish or uninterested in what surrounds us. We might feel impatient with ourselves, wondering why we don't have the energy we used to for our usual routine. But if we remember the chrysalis, the dark inner sanctum that provides the environment for a remarkable conversion, we can relax and let ourselves be, finding ways to support our process rather than coaxing ourselves away from it. If you see a butterfly emerging from the chrysalis, the temptation may be to help it break out. The physical challenge of this part of the process is necessary, though, for the butterfly to build strength so that it can survive outside. The same is true of us. Sometimes we have to labor on our own to discover the force we need to be our new selves in the world. Similarly, when seeing friends or family members struggling, it is easy to become impatient and want to help with others' emergence, but we have to learn to let others make it on their own. Taking on the challenge of liberating ourselves enables us to thrive in our new freedom. Sometimes the greatest support we can offer others and ourselves is patience and the quiet confidence in the process unfolding, along with the faith that the results will be extraordinary. Keeping the eyes closed, staying with that breath, just thinking about us being kind of in that little chrysalis, being in this stay home phase. And knowing that when this is all over, we get to emerge and be those beautiful butterflies. It reminds me of a quote that I'm not sure who wrote it, but I use it a lot. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Let's take an inhale through the nose and exhale it out the mouth with a sigh. And then go ahead and cross the feet the other direction, changing it up because you've been sitting for a while. Let your chin drop to your chest and roll your head from one shoulder to the other shoulder, just taking those little half circles to begin with. Ooh, is my neck tight? Do one more half circle to each side, and then you can turn it into full circles, alternating directions when you come through center. Take one more round, each direction. And then bring your head up, draw your shoulders to your ears, and roll them back a couple times. One thing I like to work on in morning practices is balance, and then bring them forward, because I feel that it's something that's important to do, especially as you mature. And I think that in the morning, it's the hardest time to do balance. Let's go ahead and come onto all fours. You can take your blanket if you have one and open it up a little bit wider. Place it underneath your knees. I'm gonna move you through some cat-cows, so as you find yourself on all fours, start to inhale and lift your heart up, arch your spine, and then exhale, draw the belly in, drop the head down. Try that a few more times, moving with your breath. And then try to connect the breath so that it precedes the movement. So in other words, start your inhale and then lower your belly down towards the mat. And then let your exhale begin before you start that rounding of the spine. So draw the breath in and then let it out. Do two more. And then come into a neutral spine. We're going to be working a little bit with balance here. So if you want to remove your blanket to make it a little bit more stable, might be a good idea. So start by extending your right foot out and your left hand out. We're going to hold here for 4 breaths. Two more. And then extend out a little longer, take an inhale breath, and as you exhale, draw your elbow to your knee. Do that 4 times. This is number 2 here. Exhale. Inhale, reach back out. Exhale. Last one. And then extend back out and lower your hand to the floor. I want you to keep your left hip stacked over your left knee, but externally rotate your right foot and take it out to the side like your foot's coming out from your hip. Take a breath in and then exhale, draw it back. Do that 4 more times. Inhale as you come out, exhale as you draw in. Actually, I think it's exhale on the way out for this one. It'll make sense in a minute. One more. And then bring it back behind you. Extend your hand back out. We're going to take hand and foot out to the side. And then back in front. Hand out to the side, foot out to the side. Extend back out. Last 3, you should be feeling this in your hip. 2 more. 1 more, and this time as you come back to the front, I want you to squeeze the knee and elbow again. That's your exhale. Inhale, reach back out. Exhale to the side. That's what I thought. Inhale, front and back. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, reach. Exhale to the side. Take it front and back. And squeeze. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Reach back out, take your hand to the mat, swing that right foot over to the left side of your mat and look over your shoulder. And then bring that foot back behind you and step it through. Grab your blocks if you got them. You can also use canned food or books. Try to scoot that left leg back as far as you can and sink deeply into that left hip flexor. It's part of your psoas muscle. Breathe into those tight places. And then we're going to turn it into half Hanuman. Tuck your back toes, lift your front toes, walk yourself back. You can keep those blocks on tall, or you can drop them down a notch. Take an inhale breath, lengthen out your spine, and then exhale, lower your nose towards your knee. Let your neck relax by dropping your chin towards your chest. Rebend your front knee, walk yourself back forward, take the blocks to the top of the mat, send your right foot back to meet your left foot, and then flatten your hands to the floor and take that right knee in a couple hip circles in each direction. Lower your knee down, sway your hips from side to side. And then we'll take that sequence to the opposite side. So you're going to start with your left foot extended and your right hand extended, holding for 4 breaths. One more. And then extend that a little longer. Inhale, exhale, elbow to knee. Do that 4 more times. Re-extend back out. We're taking the foot and the arm to the side. Exhale as you take it out there. Inhale, reach back out. 4 more. Last one. Gonna add that squeeze to the middle. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow, knee, draw in. Inhale, back out. Exhale to the side. Inhale, reach forward. Exhale, squeeze in. Inhale, back out. Exhale to the side. Last 2. Nice. Go ahead and lower your hand back to the mat. Swing that foot over to the right side. Look over your shoulders. Send your hips to the left. And then draw that foot back behind you, and as you exhale, step it through, taking those blocks back on tall. Wiggle that right leg back, and then get sinky in that right hip flexor. If you untuck your toes, you can get a little deeper stretch there. Notice if you got those shoulders scrunched to your ears, try to draw them down and back. And then tuck your back toes under, lift your front toes up. We're walking back for your half splits. Take your blocks to what level sounds good. Re-extend your spine and then bend your elbows to lower your nose toward your knee. Rebend that front leg, walk yourself back forward. Blocks are coming back to the top of the mat, hands are coming flat on the floor. Swing your foot back behind you, 2 hip circles in each direction with your left leg. And then tuck your toes under and press yourself into your downward facing dog. Take a few minutes to pedal your feet out. Find some comfort and ease in the pose. Ooh, I'm snap, crackle, popping. Take your feet and step them to the width of the mat so you're in a wide-legged downward facing dog. Draw your chest down towards the floor. Let your shoulders kind of slide down your back. And then walk your hands in and place your left hand under your face and reach your right hand towards your ankle, looking under your left shoulder. And then switch hands. Right hand to the mat, left hand looks towards the right side. Walk back into down dog. And then take and roll to the pinky toe edge of your right foot and the big toe edge of your left foot. Let your hips sink towards the floor. Come back to center, rolling onto the other side. Your feet should still be pretty wide. Come back to center again and walk your feet back to your normal hip distance apart. And then inhale, lift your heels up. Exhale, bend your knees, hover. Inhale, send those hips back to the sky. Exhale, lower your heels towards the floor. Do that twice more. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees, crouching cat. Send the hips back up, and then lower your heels to the floor. Last one. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Look to the top of the mat. Walk your hands up to meet, or walk your feet to meet your hands. Take an inhale breath, lengthen your spine. Exhale, bow it down. Inhale, rise up. Exhale to the heart. Find your way into Tadasana. Close your eyes and take a pause. Breathing in those nice, even breaths in and out. We're going to move through a Sun Sal C. Bring your hands to your heart with your inhale breath. Reach up. Exhale, bow down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Step your left foot back, lower your knee to the mat, and reach your arms up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Right foot steps back to meet left. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Lower your right knee to the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the earth, step to the top of your mat, find your flat back. Bow your head down, and then rise back up. Hands to the heart. Second half, here we go. Inhale, reach. Exhale, dive. Inhale, lengthen. This time, right foot steps back. Lower that knee to the mat. Let your inhale breath bring you up. Exhale, hands to the floor, step it back, top of a push-up, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, send it through. Left knee to the mat, arms reach up, breathe in. Hands to the floor, left foot steps to the top. Long spine when you get there. Head to the earth, reach and rise. Hands to the heart. Continuing on, inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen. This time either step or hop back, Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Send your right leg up, bend your knee and stack your hip. Move it around a bit, warming up the hip socket. And then square your hips off. Take a breath in. As you exhale, step forward for high lunge. Rise up. Remember, we talked about balance and working on it this morning. So I want you to find your drishti. Hold here for another couple breaths. And then dragging your left toes on the floor. It helps with your proprioception. Come into marching. Hold there for 4 breaths. Cross your ankle over your thigh. Bring your hands to your heart. Start to bend your knee and come into a little figure 4 squat. 4 breaths when you get there. Inhale, reach back into marching. Exhale, step it back, lower your hands to the floor, top of a push-up, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, lift your left leg up, bend your knee, stack your hip. Do those same motions you did before. And then re-extend back behind you. Inhale, exhale, high lunge. Find your feet first and rise. Again, where's your drishti? Where's your gaze? Find that steadiness in it. And then start to drag your right foot into marching. We got 4 breaths when you get there. Cross your ankle over your thigh. Bring your hands to your heart, coming into your figure 4 squat. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, step it back. Top of a push-up, flow, pause, or rest. Meaning you don't have to take all these chaturangas and flow with it. You can take a few breaths in child or rest in dog. One more nice breath in and out. And then inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step it through. Inhale, reach up, high lunge. 4 breaths. Find your drishti. We're moving into marching. Try that little toe slide. It helps. Come back into your figure 4 squat. Take 4 more breaths in and out. And then rise back up. This time we're going to step back for warrior 2. Ha. Let your shoulders relax. Gaze over the middle finger of your right hand. Couple more breaths here. And then flip your front palm up, reach to the top of the mat, and as you exhale, reverse your warrior, but we're gonna take our arms in opposition. So extend your left arm in front of you and your right arm behind you, like you're reaching in 2 different ways. And then reverse it. So you're gonna draw your right hand behind you, your left hand's coming forward. You're going to resist the temptation to rest your right arm on your thigh. Come back up, Virabhadrasana 2. And then pivot yourself back into high lunge. You can adjust your feet if you need to get that even stance. Find your drishti again. We're moving right back into marching. Slide your toes up. Hold for 4. Cross your ankle over your thigh, come into your figure 4. See if you can bring your elbows down to touch your ankle and your knee. Inhale, rise back up. Big step back, hands to the mat. Take a flow, a pause, or a rest. 5 breaths in your downward facing dog. Starting from dog, lift your left leg up, take a breath in, and as you exhale, bring it through high lunge. Inhale to rise. Plant your feet and breathe. Finding that focus point in front of you. With your next breath in, lift your right foot into marching. Cross Cross your ankle over your thigh. Bring your hands to your heart, coming down partially, not all the way down this first time. Last 2 breaths. Inhale right back into marching. We're going to step your right foot back, warrior 2. Settle in, find that focus, and then flip that front palm out. Bring your right hand forward and your left hand back. We're doing that reaching in opposition, pulling on the connective tissue. Switch it around, reversing it. So left arm's reaching towards the back of your mat, right arm's reaching towards the top. Come back into warrior 2. Pivot the back foot around, find your high lunge, and then we'll step it back into marching. 4 breaths. Right ankle crosses over the left thigh as you lower down. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, step it back. Take your hands to the mat. We're going to meet in child's. If you want to go straight there, you can. Something I should tell you about my practice this morning is that my floor in my yoga studio underneath the indoor-outdoor carpet is pavers, so it's a very uneven surface, making balance even more challenging. Take 3 more breaths in your child's pose. And then press yourself back into downward facing dog and step or hop to the top of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart, closing your eyes, reminding yourself of that thought that you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. I'm going to take you through another balance sequence. So with your inhale breath, set your hips back, come into chair bros, take your hands with you. Rising up on the exhale, bring your right foot into marching. Cross it over on the inhale, bend your standing leg. It's that same figure 4 fold. Inhale, reach back into marching. Exhale, back into chair. Inhale, left foot lifts, marching. Exhale, figure 4 fold. Inhale, rise back up. Exhale, chair. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, cross it over. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, Utkatasana. Reaching up with that left leg. Cross your ankle. Stand back up. Hips back. Adding on this time, I'm going to turn sideways for this one. Hands back, take a breath in. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, cross it over. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, hands to the heart, Virabhadrasana 3. Inhale, back into marching. Exhale, chair. Second side, bring your left foot up. Cross it over. Reach back to the sky. Hands to the heart, warrior 3. Rise back into marching. And then find your way back into chair and bring your hands in front of you. Look down and make sure you can see your toes. Try to stretch that lower back by lengthening your tailbone towards the floor. And then bring your hands to your heart. Turn your torso to the right. Drop your left elbow down and press your palms together, coming into your prayer twist. Gonna have a little more balance fun. So keep your knees touching. Take your left toe and place it behind you on the floor. Look down at your right foot. Put all the weight in that right foot and see if you can lift that left foot up. Flamingo pose. Step it back for high lunge prayer twist. You can reset. And then still looking down at that front foot, see if you can bring your knee back up to the right knee, toe off the floor, flamingo. And then lower your foot to the mat, come into forward fold. Sway a little bit from side to side here. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. Inhale, chair pose. Hands to the heart, we're taking it to the other side. Twisting to your left, right elbow drops. Palms pressed together as you stack those shoulders. Look down at the floor at your left foot. Bring the weight there and send your right toe behind you. Knees are touching. See if you can lift that foot up. Take a full breath in and then step it back. Exhale. Couple breaths in your twisted high lunge. And then look back down at your front foot. Back foot's coming up. Toes off the floor. Lower it back to the earth. Hands to the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step or hop back. Chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths. And then bring yourself forward into plank, squeezing elbows in, lower yourself all the way down to the floor. Let your head rest and bring your hands beside you with your palms facing up. So turning your head either to your left or to your right, but remembering which side you're on so you can switch it next time. And then bring yourself up and find Sphinx pose. So that's the one where your elbows are stacked underneath your shoulders and you want to draw those shoulders back and away from your ears. Think of your fingertips as suction cups pulling back. Lift your heart up. Look down the bridge of your nose to the floor in front of you. And then I want you to take your left hand and point it towards the right corner of the mat. Bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand for your foot. Give it a pull towards your tush. Giving those quadriceps some love. We'll try that on the other side. So right hand's pointing to the left corner. Left arm's reaching back for your left foot. Pull it towards your tush and stretch the front of your left quadricep. And then release that. Lower yourself back down. Turn your opposite cheek to the floor. And then bend your knees, reach back for your feet. If you can't grab them, you can take it into Shalabhasana. But if you can grab your feet or your ankles, walk your inner thighs together to touch. Take a breath in, and as you exhale, lift your heart and your thighs. Take 2 more breaths. And then lower down just for the inhale, and then exhale, bring it back up. 2 more breaths. And then lower yourself into crocodile, stacking your hands on top of one another. Take your feet wide and let your head rest on your hands. Heels in, toes out. Slide your legs together, bring your hands next to your shoulders, tuck your toes. Try to come up either rising through plank or from your knees and bring yourself back into downward facing dog. We're going to do that same flow we were doing earlier, but we're going to move it on the breath this time. So inhale, right leg up. Exhale, step it through. Rise up for high lunge. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, take it into your figure four. Inhale, reach back up to marching. Exhale, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, arms reach forward and back. Exhale, take them the opposite direction, those funky arms. Inhale, back into 2. Exhale, pivot into high lunge. Inhale into marching. Exhale, figure four squat. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, high lunge. Hands to the mat. You know what to do. You can take that flow or choose not to. Find your way back into your downward facing dog. Send your left foot up. Exhale, bring it through, high lunge. Inhale, breath, arms reach up. Find your way into marching. Cross that ankle over, figure four. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, step it back, Virabhadrasana 2. Funky arms in that reverse warrior, reach back and forward. And then exhale the arms the opposite way. Inhale, back into 2. Pivot your back foot. Find your drishti for your gaze and bring yourself back into marching. Cross that ankle over, lower down. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, step it back. Take your hands to the mat. Last opportunity to take a flow if you like. And then find your way down to the floor. And extend your legs out in front of you. Inhale, your arms lift up over your head. And exhale, take a nice forward fold. Really find the length in your spine. And then let your head lower down. Slide your hands up your legs, grow tall. And then bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana. And do one of these choices. You can take and open your feet like a book. You can take and bring your fingers in between your toes, so you're interlacing fingers and toes. That's a really nice thing to do. It helps to build the space between your toes, which we want to keep that space between our toes. And then the last thing you can do is to interlace your toes themselves, which may sound impossible, but it's actually is possible. You probably can't see my feet too well, but they are interlaced. Take a breath in. I'm going to grab my ankles, and then I'm going to bring my heart forward. Tuck your chin when you get to where you can go. Next breath in, rise back up. Undo your feet. If you interlaced them, you can undo that little craziness there. And then bring your feet out in front of you. Find your sits bones and take your toes to the floor. Inhale, lift your toes up. Exhale, come into your boat pose. 3 more breaths. Bring it back in, find your toes again, lift your heart again, and bow it down. Inhale brings you back up. Knees come together, toes to the floor. This time we're going to do some little crunches. Inhale, send your feet out. Exhale, squeeze them in. Do that 5 more times. I'm hitting my head on the fire thingy-majiggy behind us. One more of those forward folds. And then bring yourself back up. Coming onto your back. Have your blanket and any props that you might need for Shavasana ready. So lower down onto the floor. Take your feet to the width of the mat and bring your arms into cactus and do a few little windshield wipering of your knees. And then walk your feet in alignment with your sits bones. I'm going to come into bridge pose. You have an opportunity to bring a block in if you like. I'm going to do that this time for myself. So go ahead and lift up. If you're not bringing a block in, you can interlace those hands underneath you. You can reach for your heels. Take 6 more of the longest breaths you've taken all morning. Try to release any tension you're feeling in your neck or your shoulders. Soften your face. And then if you're on a block, stay where you're at. If you're off a block, go ahead and lower yourself to the mat. Take your feet back wide and let your knees knock together, releasing your low back. For those of you on a block, stay there. If you didn't take the block the first time, this time I want you to press up and come onto the block. You can either have it on low or medium. And then once you're there, extend your right heel out. You can stay there, or you can draw your left knee, pulling it towards your chest. Here's my train. Let's switch sides. So you're going to send the left leg out, bring your right foot either to the floor or draw it into your chest for a bigger stretch. And then see how it feels to bring both feet out to the mat. If it's too much and you're on a medium setting, you can lower it down. Or if you're on low, you can just take the block out and lay on your back for a couple more breaths. And then we're going to bend our knees and lift our feet above our head, coming into supported shoulder stand. This is a great inversion that doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Point and flex your feet a few times. Inversions are intended to reverse the blood flow, and it also gives your heart a little rest because your feet are above your head. There's my train again. Release your feet back to the floor. Pull the block out from underneath you. You're going to grab your knees and hug them to your chest. And then take your arms into a T. Drop your knees to the right. Turn your head to the left. You can take that right hand onto your thigh and give it an additional little tug to deepen the twist. back through center. Reset your pelvis by rocking a little from side to side. And take that same expression of your twist to the opposite side. Head's turning to the right. You can use that left arm or hand to pull your right knee over. Return to your back. Pull the knees back to the chest again. Rock a few more times from left to right. And then ask yourself, is there any other pose that would complete my practice? Maybe plow would feel good, or another shoulder stand without the block, or whatever it is that maybe you just feel like you need to do before Shavasana. Maybe it's Happy Baby and you're done. Do that. I'm going to just take a nice little Happy Baby, rocking again from side to side. I like to straighten and bend my legs. And then extend them both out, really pulling my shoulders down away from my ears. I always say this is not a pose to be on the cover of Yoga Journal. As you're ready, extend your legs out. Take your hands by your side. Find that spot on your mat that you feel the most comfort. And if that means adding in some props, do so. And stay there as long as you would like. Peace and namaste.